brave amigos are we. Brother to brother and everyone, a brave amigo.
Welcome back to this already the final segment of today's Price of Business, and I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. You know that music. That means you should run and not hide, but it's too late. We got you now. We're going to spend some time talking about what's going on in the humor front. That is Dan Shedd, the intern's job, to go find out what we should be laughing at or learning about or what's weird. And then we have Sidney Kramer, who just really doesn't have much else to do, so he joins us anyway. And, you know, it's kind of like the Johnny Bravo episode of the Brady Bunch. We have a suit to fill because we are the three AM egos, and so he's got to be that third person. And it's just me, Kevin Price, your host extraordinaire. Oh, no, that's intern extraordinaire. Anyway, Dan Shedd, what do you have for us today?
Well, I have the newest way to discipline your kid. If your kid is ever acting up, you can just take him down to A1 Cut and ask the barber to give your kid the Benjamin Button Special.
The Benjamin Button Special.
It is so awesome.
I love it.
Sigmund posted it on my Facebook page, and it is so awesome. Go ahead and tell us about it, Dan.
Well, the haircut involves shaving off your kid's or the child's crown until he begins to resemble a balding senior citizen.
That's right. I love it so. I love it so.
It's so awesome. Basically, you know, just envision the old guy with the hair that goes from ear to ear, but not much on top.
That's right. You know what I like to think of? You remember those old games that you would have? It was a magnet. It was a picture of a guy's head, and then it had like the iron shavings on it, and then you could like use the magnet to move the iron shavings to make whatever kind of hair you wanted on the guy. You remember that?
Oh yeah. What was that thing called?
I don't know, but that's what it reminds me of.
You had a little magnetic rod that you would move them.
That's right, and you'd place them where you wanted to and make your own hair. But the way he looked before you did that was pretty much what you can expect. And I just love it so much because the look on the kid's face, you know, the quote model in these pictures is he just, oh man, he looks like an old man. He looks
like an old, and you know what he looks like? He looks like a grumpy old man.
Yep, he looks like an old man that just lost his dentures in his cream spinach.
Oh, that is hilarious.
It's awesome. So where can people find the pictures?
At priceofbusiness.com, correct?
Yes, priceofbusiness.com.
Yeah. Dan, have you ever had a haircut like that?
No.
Not even by accident?
No.
Yeah, he's grateful because he's not really sure it would grow back anyway. So, bump.
That's right.
I think it's called a Woolly Willy.
Yes, the Woolly Willy. That's it.
No, it's the other way around. Woolly Willy. Not Woolly Woolly. Woolly Willy.
Woolly Willy?
Woolly, yeah. Woolly Willy. Exactly.
That's what I said.
There's also one called Fuzzy Face, but the original was called Woolly Willy.
I'm so glad you have your phone or computer and you're looking that up right away because our audience was really missing out.
They were. It probably wouldn't hurt Dan to have a Woolly Willy on there as well.
Yeah, go ahead and put it or a Woolly Bully. You could
Woolly Bully.
Woolly Bully.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of remakes like Magnetic Fuzzy Face. How generic sounding is that? But the original is Woolly Willy, and I remember that. And,
where's the magnetic fuzzy face made?
Probably China.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, probably China. But you look at this, Woolly Willy must go way back, dude. I mean, way back.
Way back to at least.
They had it when I was little. But if you look at these here online, and if you look at them at priceofbusiness.com, you'll see that they go way back.
But am I right? Does the guy look like the kid? I mean, you're basically getting the haircut that they show you on Woolly Willy.
pretty much.
Or
Pretty
my
much.
dad. Or my dad.
Or your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
What else you got for us?
Well, I have a guy who was on his phone.
Wait, wait a second. We're moving away from Wooly Willy. We're moving
Why
away.
wouldn't we?
The social implications of a child getting an old elderly man's haircut. We're not going to delve in.
All right, we can do that.
What that kid's
going to does have a limit. So I think it's awesome. I honestly think it's awesome.
What is that kid going to deal with when he goes back to school? What kind of heinous teasing is he going to get? You think
the
he's
kind that may make him, and again, it needs to be proportional to the crime. You know what I mean? Need to be in proportional to the crime, but maybe the kind to make him think twice before he misbehaves again.
You think he's not going to be bullied at school, Dan?
Oh, he's going to get bullied at school. That's part of the plan.
Yeah, it's going to happen anyways. It's going to happen no matter what.
That's what you should do to the bully. Like if you catch your kid being a bully at school, boom.
Oh, that's a good one. That's what I was saying a minute ago. Should be in proportion to the act, right?
So then
that would be an act that's proportional to that.
Then you really,
I like that.
Then you really could call it the Willy Bully.
Okay, now listen. Forget about his next topic. I've got my own next topic. I want to take Dan Shedd to task for coming to the defense of Brian Williams.
Oh, whoa!
You want a liar? Give the guy a break. You know what the guy is in? I don't know if you know it, but he's in the integrity and trust business. I mean, that's what he does for a living is he's supposed to be someone that you can trust for information, and he can't even tell the truth about his own circumstances. And he said he remembered it wrong. I'm telling you, folks, I mean, he should have underwear that would remind him for the rest of his life what he claimed he went through. So, I mean, he either doesn't have the integrity to be a newsman or the mental faculties to be a newsman. But he couldn't remember the truth about that.
But what's
your thought about that, Sigmund Kramer?
Have you seen the two journalists that have come to his defense?
Yeah, liars, guys who lie themselves.
Dan Rather.
Yep.
And Geraldo Rivera.
Yep, both liars. Where is that Al Capone treasure? And where is that guy to back up his claims about George Bush? Dan Rather. Yeah, liars are backing him up. I'm telling you. He either doesn't have the integrity or the memory to still be a news anchor. That's my spin.
12 years he's been telling that story, and each and every year he got more and more close to the action. It got more and more harrowing, and I could
see the whites of the eyes of the people that were shooting at me. It's like,
did you hear
what?
That?
And we're talking as recent as 1 week ago. 1 week ago he did it again.
Did you hear that the captain that was the actual main pilot on the helicopter said, no, we didn't see any fire. He wouldn't have been close enough to see any fire.
Right. We would have reversed if we had seen fire because we had a civilian with us. We weren't going to have civilian casualties.
Well,
I mean, it really smacked at the integrity of the pilot when you think about it, because they weren't going to submit a civilian to that kind of risk. I mean, it was just so wrong on every single front, and it's also wrong for NBC because NBC just in the last year did a massive contract with this guy, knowing that he'd been lying like this, not holding him accountable for it. I think the whole thing is just disgusting.
Well, plus, I mean, like I said, who is going to replace him? Who's going to do the slow jams? They can't. So they're going to keep him around.
He's got by far the highest ratings of any of those people. I mean, they're now, ABC and CBS are going through anchors like, I don't even know who the anchors are in the other two networks anymore.
Right.
And there's a time where those people were anchors forever. And so, but so much for integrity.
He's obviously
way more important than integrity.
He's got Jimmy Fallon's audience watching, and he, Jimmy Fallon has him on the show on a regular basis. There's no way they're getting rid of Brian Williams. If Brian Williams converted to Islam and went to join ISIS in Syria, then they would just say, and now we have an embedded reporter, Brian Williams.
Right. And personally, I like Brian Williams. I mean, of as far as watching someone He's way more watchable than the rest, and he does have a self-deprecating humor, which I like that. He's likable, but the guy lacks integrity. And I can't believe Dan said anyone would defend him.
I have to disagree. I think everybody makes mistakes, and as long as they own up to mistakes, I forgive them.
Oh, I forgive him, but do I want him to be conveying news?
A trusted source for news, unbiased and filled with veracity. That's not exactly giving a whole lot of thumbs up in the way of Brian. I can tell you which finger it gives in the way of Brian Williams, but it's not a thumb. But I'll tell you right now, you say he lacks integrity. Then it really shouldn't be a surprise that his daughter has turned out the way that she has.
I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah.
But I'm saying he needs to get a job doing something else. He's very funny. He could probably do stand-up comedy. He could probably get his own late-night gig. But the guy lacks the integrity to be a journalist. Well, he lacks that integrity.
He could probably be a really good intern for The Price of Business.
I don't know. I don't think there's room for both of those guys. I will say this: in spite of Dan's assessment of Brian Williams, Dan has high integrity, from what I can tell.
Dan,
one of those rare props that I give to Dan Shedd, because although he's a great guy, he's really easy to make fun of and pick on.
I thought you were going to take Dan Shedd to the woodshed.
I feel like I already did for him for sticking up for Brian Williams. Anyway, what do you think? What do you think, Sigmund?
Well, I mean, it's kind of what the definition of I is. That's what I think. It reminds me so much. It reminds me so much of the Bill Clinton. What the definition of is. Now Brian Williams is like, was it I that saw it, or was it somebody else? And I just got confused. I mean, there has to be consequences when you literally live a lie. It's not even just telling a lie. He's lived it for the last 12 years. And
right.
if it comes out that there was no truth to it whatsoever, not just it was something maybe misremembered in the fog of war, but if it was a complete and utter fabrication, then he should go. He won't. NBC has already said that they're not going to fire him. Not only are they not going to fire him, they're not even going to reprimand him, discipline him in any way.
He'll probably get a raise for the ratings increase.
You know it. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's frustrating.
But what was interesting was that they sure took a long time to say anything at all. They literally hung him out to dry for days, 2 days before they said anything. I found the silence kind of deafening. I'm sure he did too.
When you got Dan Rather watching your back, what's the frequency, Kenneth? What's the frequency?
Yeah. Anyway, Dan, sorry we popped that story on you. You'll have to save your other story. Great story on the kids with the haircuts. Clearly, Brian Williams needs one of those haircuts. We need to get a mock-up artist to make an image of Brian Williams.
Oh, that would be so classic. Brian Williams with the woolly bully.
Oh, my God, I'm so funny at times. It's so rare too, so I really have to chuckle. But anyway, I gotta go do some Photoshop, guys. So we're gonna wrap up the show with that one. But it was a great segment, fun show. Boy, we were all over the place, covering a lot of different topics. So just want to remind the listener, best content here can be found over there at usathereview.com. Great images for Dan Shedd's great story over at priceofbusiness.com. Great story at usathereview.com, by the way, about Brian Williams, a media wrap-up of what he's going through. So have a great rest of your day. Spend it wisely right here on this station.